Okay, so hello people, welcome to this tutorial. And as you have seen in the title, today we are going to implement a attribute system or a stamina system or health system, whatever you want to call it. We are going to implement a system, attribute bar, like as in the game peak. So yeah, it's I won't say it's a stamina bar, but it's more of a mix of a health bar and a stamina bar, because it also acts a health bar, because if it is exhausted, the character dies in the game. So yeah, it also acts as a um, health bar. And yeah, it can also hold poison, hunger, and pretty much everything, or all the attributes in the game. So it is more of a general attribute bar instead of stamina. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'll just call this stamina bar. So yeah, let's get started. Let's go in there. Let's create a basic folder structure first. Underscore main for all the custom files that I'll add. Then a folder called blueprints. Then yeah, and here we'll create interfaces. Then a components folder, and in the underscore main folder we'll create another folder called UI. So yeah, that's our basic folder structure. Now actually let's open up BP third person character. I'm gonna use this character in this tutorial, and I'm gonna make a component for handling all of that logic. And yeah, and actually let me just add the data folder here as well. So yeah, let's go to components, blueprint class, actor component, and let's create a EC underscore all the stamina for now. Yeah, even though it is not really just stamina bar, it will go stamina. Okay, so yeah, and now the way we are implementing the system is that we are gonna have gameplay tags. So gameplay tag is gonna be like a unique primary or the identifying key for the type of the attribute. So and in the stamina component we are gonna have an array of those, and to those we are gonna bind, or let's say map, certain that data. So it can be the current value of the attribute or the maximum value of the attribute, or I think maximum value should be common for all of them, or because that's going to be the full length of the progress bar that we are going to make. But in general we are going to have the current value. Let's say we can have the color of the progress bar, because there are different colors in the big game. Each attribute is represented by a different color. For example, damage is represented by red. Stamina, of course, the remaining stamina is represented by green. Poison is represented by purple color or something. Hunger is represented by yellow. So yeah, we can store their data. And yeah, then there are certain attributes, for example poison, which is self-healing. So let's say the character gets attacked, and he gets this poison buff, buff or whatever you want to call it. So after certain seconds, let's say 5 seconds, it should go away on its own slowly. So let's say we have 5 units of poison attached to the character. So after 5 seconds it starts to remove 1 unit per second. So in total of 10 seconds the poison will be removed completely from the character's attributes. So yeah, so we'll have that variables as well. Let's say a boolean, if it's a self-healing attribute or not. And then we can have a speed of the generation or the healing, the stuff like that. So for that, what I'll do is I'll go to my data folder. I'll search a structure. I'll call this f attribute data. And I know the attribute is not the perfect name here, but yeah, I think I'll just go with the attribute for now. So let's do current value. Actually I'll just call value, and this is of course going to be a float. And then we are gonna have a color here, but actually we can add that later when we do the UI part. But now I think we only need the value. So yeah, Actually, before that, let's implement a basic stamina system. I'm thinking of having stamina as a F attribute data and array as well. Uh, so, yeah, actually, I think we can do that. Yeah, actually, let's do that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create stamina also as a this entry of this F attribute data. So in the case of stamina, all the variable I need is this. I'll call this uh, max attribute max attributes value. So this is the maximum value all of the attributes combined can have. So let's say I have 70 stamina, 10 hunger, and 10 poison, and 10 damage. So that should form a total of 100. So yeah, I'll set the default value to 100. Okay, yeah. And also we are gonna have priorities in the attributes. So let's say um, I have got hunger. Let's say my stamina is 50. I've got 30 hunger. I've got, let's say I have 50 stamina left. I've got 50 hunger, and now if I get damaged, which should be decreased, the stamina or the hunger? Of course, in this case, uh, the stamina will be decreased. Let's say I take 50 damage. Um, so my stamina will be exhausted. Now I have got 50 damage and 50 hunger, but in some cases you might not want to end the game at this point, because even though we have got 50 damage, the stamina bar is fully exhausted, but you might have the hunger as a self-healing parameter. Actually, let's consider sleep here instead of hunger, because sleeping is again sleeping makes more sense for a self-healing attribute. So yeah, let's say now we have 50 damage and 50 um, sleep attribute applied to the character. Now let's say we want to add some new character that might be hunger. So what attribute should the hunger take place of? So let's say I want to add 10 hunger. Should now the health should the damage be increased to 40 from 50, or the sleep should be decreased from 50 to 40? Which one should be done? So yeah, we are also gonna have to define priorities. So I think damage is gonna have the damage is gonna have the highest priority in the game. So yeah, we're gonna have and of course the stamina that we will be using in the game will have lowest priority. So yeah, it will be custom. I will be using the index of the array. So higher the index, the higher the priority. We are gonna make it something yeah, that way. So now actually let's define some gameplay tags. Search tags, manage gameplay tags. Now let's plus for them. Okay, I'll do game dot player dot attributes. Let's do stamina first. Let me just select this the ini file here. Yeah, in the attributes, then I'll add damage, and then let's say we need hunger, and then let's say we need sleep maybe, and let's also add why poison. Yep. Now let's create a variable here called attributes data. It will be an attribute data. Actually, I'll need this tag here as well. I'll call this key, which will be f gameplay. Sorry, it should be called gameplay tag instead. Gameplay tag. Yeah, now we have that. I'll make this an array. I'll define my first value, which is going to be main stamina. I'll go game player attributes. I'll do stamina, and default value, it should be equal to the max attributes value. So I'm not gonna assign the default value here. I'm gonna add the functionality to set it at begin play, but for now I'll just set it here. So yeah, and then the next attribute with lowest priority should be, I think, poison maybe. Yes, and then it should be sleep. Then hunger. And then at the very last, we are gonna do damage. Yes, so we have 5 of those. Okay, so now actually let me just do one thing. I'll go back to the third person character and I'll get this shift. Actually, let's just do with the let's just do it the proper way. This the inputs folder. That is, I'll add a new action. Should we call sprint, and I'll add that to the IMC. Speed. 600. Let's do 1200 for now. I'll just do double so I can notice it better. Let's see. Of course, the speed changes and I can notice it quite well. Yeah. Now let's create functions here to change these values. Sorry. Now the way we are gonna change this is that we are gonna have a general function on this component which is gonna take in a gameplay tag as an input, and it's gonna check if any of those gameplay tags is available in this array. If yes, it's gonna change the bomb value with it, and yeah, it's also gonna remove the stamina if left, or the lowest priority attribute that is currently available. So it's going to remove that as well. So let's create a function here. So let's call this modify attribute. I'll call this input attribute key, and this is going to be the gameplay tag or the primary key. So yeah. Okay, now we are gonna have a additive value, or the value which is going to be added to our attribute. Now this can be negative as well if you wanna decrease the attribute. So yeah. So now what it needs to do is it will loop over this array. Actually what I'll do is I'll create another function, get matching attribute, and it will return the index of this array at which that attribute is present, and it's also this one is also going to take a key. I'll call this attribute key. This one will be a gameplay tag again. Okay, now it will do this for each loop. Now we'll get the attribute key. if it is equal to the array element. Oh wait, sorry, it's the attribute data. So if this is equal, then we are gonna have a return node here. Sorry, return node. If this is true, it's gonna return this index. I'll call this attribute index, and if we don't find any matching attribute, then we just return -1. There we go. Doing this now, instead of doing this thing here in the modify attribute, I can just call this function instead. Now, and I can have a statement here. Implement this only if the index is valid or it is greater than -1. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. Now I'll also have a success return value. It's gonna be a boolean. It's gonna tell me if it was successful to modify the attribute or no. So in the false statement, I'll just pass in false and I'll return. So yeah. Now we are gonna actually access the attribute and set the value. So this is but actually here I'll make a local variable. I'll call this value to add float. It will be a single variable. I'll set this to the additive value. Get additive. It's more like I'm caching this value, so I'll just reuse this variable again and again. So yeah. So from the attributes data, I'm going to do a get and before this actually let's do one more variable, underscore attribute index. We don't really need these local variables, but yeah, this one we don't need this. I just like to structure it a bit better. Yeah. Okay. Now instead of just dragging the pin again and again from here, I'm gonna use this variable. So now let's see if the plus of these values we are gonna set array element at the attribute index. For now I know that it's gonna have some issues because let's say the value is already 0, and if we are trying to decrease 10, it's gonna go to -1. Yeah, I know, but for now I'll just place a clamp. But in the full system, what it should be doing is, let's say if this value is -10, I just return without doing anything. So yeah, it should be more like that instead. And if I'm trying to add an attribute, I'm trying to add a value to it, and let's say I'm trying to add damage, and let's say stamina is already 0, 50 is assigned to sleep, 50 is assigned to hunger. I want to add 50 damage. I'll set the sleep to 50 because this is the lower priority than hunger and damage. I'm gonna set this to 50. Hunger will remain on 50 and the damage will be set to 50 as well. So yeah, it's gonna be something like that. So but for now I'll just go with the basic stuff. Let's click this Okay. Okay, so this is the new value that it should be having, but I'll place a clamp float here. The maximum value of course should be max attributes value. Actually I'll rename this and I'll call it max attributes total value, so the name is now a bit more descriptive itself. This is the value and the minimum of course is going to be 0, and here I can pass in the key as well. Let me just do this. Yep, looks a lot better. Yeah, now we are setting the attribute. Now I'll make a few functions, a few more functions here, which is gonna be start sprint and sprint, not spring. Now I'm gonna deplete stamina. If now I'm doing very basic things like deplete stamina, I'm just gonna as soon as it starts sprinting, I'm just gonna set a timer, and it's gonna keep on decreasing my stamina. Yeah, per second. So let's say after every 0.5 seconds, it's gonna decrease my stamina by 1 unit, or something like that. So what I'll do in this start sprint function is I'll set timer by function name. For the function name is going to be deplete stamina, and the time, let's say let's do 0.2 seconds actually. Looping, and I'll cast this variable, promote the variable. Deplete stamina underscore timer. I'll add this into its own category called timers. Now in the end sprint function, all I'm going to do is I'm going to get this timer and clear and invalidate timer by handle. Yep. And in the deplete function itself, I'm going to call this modify attribute function. The attribute key will be of course game.player.attributes.stamina. Attributes stamina, and the editor will be, let's see, -1, I think. Yes, so let's try that. For now, for debugging, I'll make this function print debug. What it is going to do is, so for each loop, it's going to do a print text break. Can we put it directly in there? No. Let me see if we have a new get tag. Yeah, there it is. Format text. First we add the attribute name. Then we do value. I'll increase this to 5, and here I'll just print this again empty, so it leaves a line at the end. yeah, let's just try to play the game and see what happens. And just so you know, I have set the default value directly here for now. Yeah. So let me just bind a key to call the debug function. Print debug. Okay. Let's see if this works. Okay, so it's not decreasing it. Now let's see why is that. Oh, that's because I haven't called this chart sprint and sprint function. So let's do that. Chart sprint. I know this is not the actual way you should be implementing sprint. There are quite a few things that you need to take care of. But yeah, for this tutorial, because the goal of this tutorial is not to teach you to how to make a true stamina system. It's just tell you how we are going to manage attributes and everything for a single attribute bar. So let's try again now and press. See the value is 100 right now. I go ahead. Let's run for a while. Check again. It's 78. Yeah, I can see that its stamina is being depleted. Yeah, that is working fine. Yeah, and I think that's all for this video. I'm gonna divide the system into a few videos instead of making it a big a 1 hour or 2 hour long video. So yeah, for this video I think that's all. I'll see you in the next video, and if you have any other suggestions or comments, please let me know. Yeah, and I hope you like the shorter videos more than the longer videos, because last two of my videos were like one of them was 40 minutes long and the other one was like a 1 hour long. And yeah, so I'm trying to do something different now. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.